So you set a boundary for honesty with a sex corn addict or a man who's committed to infidelity, and it only makes them angry. It only makes things worse. I hate to say it, but yes, this is usually the outcome of setting a boundary because the boundary is working. You have communicated that you are going to draw a line for what behaviors you find unacceptable. And if you are with someone who is narcissistic, codependent, or has other toxic coping mechanisms or behaviors, they're not going to like this one bit. They actually might start a process of anger and trying to get you to back down with anger. And when they see that you're holding your ground and your peace and your confidence in it, they might get weepy and start crying about it and begging and pleading. They might be manipulative and start gaslighting you. They may start with like, well, trying to make the blame game, like you've done things before, trying to flip it on you. They might throw flying monkeys in your direction. There's so many things that they might do, but anger is usually step one. So I usually, if I'm working with someone like this, or if I know someone in my inner bubble or circle where I'm going to set a boundary and they have this type of reaction, it's a very childlike reaction, by the way. I want to just side note this, that if you were to depict this person's character and you were to grade it by age, I guarantee, like if I were to say, like, look at your children and tell me at what age do you think that this grown adult man is behaving at, maturity wise, I bet you $1 million you're going to tell me 6, 7, or at the most 15 years old, because that is the extent of their emotional intelligence. They stopped growing in emotional intelligence at around a childlike state and have not grown past that point, because if they are addicted to corn, that is the stopping of their brain development and their emotional intelligence, because they've never had to process difficult emotions. So think of them as a child for a minute, because if they're getting angry, that's what a child does. Like if you take away juice from a kid and say, hey, you can't have any more juice, what do? They get angry and they throw a tantrum, right? They are like, I want the juice back, and they start stomping their feet and they start raising a fuss. When the parent doesn't budge on that, then they start crying and weeping and begging for it. And when the parent doesn't do that, then the kid may go stomp off and act moody and angry and throw a tantrum that way. And when they don't see that budges, there's eventually a moment of acceptance and realizing that those toxic behavior patterns are not going to work, and that this person means business and has drawn a very firm boundary. The boundary is not for them. The boundary is for you to hold. The boundary is for you because you find the behaviors unacceptable and you're not willing to tolerate them in your life anymore. So yeah, you're going to bat with this person. You're cutting off their energy source. You're cutting off their energy supply to you, pouring out of yourself and giving all of your energy, enabling them essentially and coddling them or pouring into them whatever it is that they want or need from you. And you're saying enough is enough. No more, no más, no more, until you change this bad behavior that you are continuing. So prepare that this is the reaction that you are going to get when you set a boundary, and know that it's a positive thing if they're kind of acting this way, because what you're doing is working. Now, if this person is volatile, if this person is super aggressive to the point where you feel threatened and in danger physically, get help. Get outside help. Make sure you have an advocate there. Make sure that you're not just doing this by yourself. You have to get help in those situations, because this person will do everything that they can do to make your life a living hell. That's dealing with a true narcissist, and that is dangerous. So if you're dealing with someone who is combative or volatile or physically abusive, please do not do this without an advocate in your presence.